So let's go now to stereotypes, which are also on the Africans, the African immigrant stereotypes that we also need to confront.
So I think the first one that I would like to talk about would be the African Americans look at the Africans as being arrogant and elitist, right? They feel like they are so like up there, they are cocky, and they think that their culture should be celebrated. And, you know, they feel good about themselves, and they see them, African Americans see Africans as being arrogant. So that could be the misinterpretation of cultural pride. Because as we talked about Africans being colonized, though they were colonized, they kept to their ethnic culture. So they did not lose their ethnicity and their culture. So they are stuck with it, and they have that cultural or national pride. So when they move from Africa and they come here, they want to hold on to that. You know, they celebrate their culture, you know, being excited about their foods. They don't want to go of the way that they eat because they are proud of their culture and they hold on to that. So somebody looking from outside may see them as being arrogant. You know, because you don't know the whole story, you tend to conclude that these people are arrogant, or they feel like they are all up there and they are elites in their own small way. You should look down upon yourself, because for them, they see Africa as a place of misery. The African Americans see Africans, you know, that way. So when they get to know us and they can see that, no, we really cherish certain things. And we value our culture, so they see us as being arrogant and elitist.
That's very sad too, right? Because you would think that would be something that they would celebrate and actually try to enjoy. When you are able to feel linked to your culture, that is when people try to respect you more than to ignore your original culture. So maybe that's something that they can look back on and change. Because if you look at all the other immigrant groups, you know, they like, say, the Chinese Americans or the Japanese Americans or all the other groups, you know, the Hispanic Americans and all that, none of them try to alienate themselves from the original culture. They all try to look like at least where they come from, and they feel a sense of pride in that. You know, so they link to it. So I think that looking at Africans who are also celebrating their cultures and thinking they are proud, it's not the best. You know, I would think that if anything, we should celebrate them and feel good about them, so that you could also boast that you also have culture from where you come from.
But they can't relate to that culture, because it was taken away from them.
It was taken. It was, it's a sad case, and it's not easy as we are saying it. But I think we have to start from somewhere. And one of these, the way we start is some of these conversations. I know, yes, they are fully Americans, and even some of these Africans who have moved here are fully Americans now. But it's always good to always have a place where you can, because European Americans, they look back to Europe and they celebrate, you know, they wear their ties and everything because it's from Europe, right? And it's fine. It's become the norm. But then if an African wears these traditional African dresses into a place, he may be looked down as a native, you know, look weird. So on one way, they feel like we are proud to do that. The other way, on the other side, is looking down. But let's take that too.
Yeah.
Some of the African Americans also look down on Africans, African immigrants. They look at them with disdain, and it's sad, because sometimes you don't know if they actually are doing it on purpose, or if it is something that is coming out not knowing, you know. I mean, if you see an African, don't look down on them because they are from Africa. You know, don't look down on anybody for that matter. Because remember, when people look down on you, you feel discriminated against. So why would you look down on another person, especially somebody who comes from a place where you were taken from? You should actually appreciate them. But some sadly, it's a stereotype there. They look on you as a native, tribal people. Look at what kind of language are they speaking, looking at them with disdain, discriminating potentially against them, and not even becoming friends with them because they feel weird. They look weird. They look too native or that kind of thing. So that is another stereotype on Africans or African immigrants that work against them, work against African Americans and against the African immigrants themselves. So it's not something that we can play with, and that it's a stereotype that needs to also be bashed out.
And we can say that maybe if we try to understand the Africans, because it's a new environment altogether, and they are coming in. So that's a coping mechanism. That's the way that they are able to cope, just to hold on to their culture. So like that's the only time that they can celebrate their culture, which they don't want to lose. So if you see them, acting certain way, it's not because they are arrogant or they just want to do anything. They just want to have a way to be able to survive on this new environment. So that can serve as a coping mechanism for them in the new environment.
And it's not easy to easily assimilate as soon as you get to the US or wherever you are, whether you're in the UK or wherever. You've been wearing this agbaja thing or this traditional clothes all your life, and you expect to change and completely be wearing only jeans and t-shirts. It may take some time. It takes time for the culture to assimilate into it, into the Western culture. So our brothers and sisters on the other side should be able to look at us in a welcoming light rather than to, think that we are arrogant. That's why we are not wearing jeans and tops and we dress too much, that kind of thing. You're too proud of your culture. Let that culture thing down a little bit. Let yourself loose. You are in America, assimilate. Stop speaking loudly in public and talking about speak English in public. Yeah, it's all good, but definitely let them be, because eventually they learn themselves how to assimilate. And it's good for you to have, a person that looks like you that seems to feel original, so that at least you can know that you are from somewhere, than to completely look down on them or look at them and say they are proud because of what they are doing. It's not like that. And we understand the experience is different because you don't have that link anymore. You lost your names, you lost those things. But I would think that, these African universities, colleges would begin to adapt some of these things and teach that a friendship will forge better friendship and relationships, because we need them and they need us.
Right. We need each other.
We need each other to survive, and not just that, to progress in that direction. So this is where we want to pitch the tent today. That's a good way to say it. We're going to end the show this way. But I feel like there's a lot more that could be said. And so if you are watching, make sure that you put your own ideas in the chat. And not just that, don't forget to hit the subscribe and the like buttons. When you hit the buttons that says thumbs up or subscribe, then the algorithm will share. Put your own question, comment, and everything in there. But don't forget to subscribe, because you have a lot more to share in the near future. And we want to say thank you for spending your time with us. And we conclude by saying, Beloved, we wish above all things that you prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.